On a bright Tuesday morning, a 35-year-old woman stepped into the polished marble entrance of Langston Prestige Motors, a dealership known across the East Coast for its exclusive luxury car inventory. She wore light-washed jeans, a plain white t-shirt, and a pair of worn sneakers. Her hair was pulled back in a simple ponytail, no makeup, no jewelry, no designer purse. At first glance, she looked like someone stopping by to ask for directions or maybe someone delivering lunch, not a potential buyer. The contrast between her appearance and the gleaming showroom was striking. Cars worth more than most homes lined the floors: Bentleys, Ferraris, Aston Martins, and Rolls-Royces displayed like works of art beneath architectural lighting. But her steps were slow and steady, unbothered by the opulence surrounding her. She walked straight toward a dark sapphire coupe that sat atop a circular display platform in the center of the room. Its finish shimmered as if made from liquefied gemstones. From the far end of the room, Sterling Langston, the sales manager with a fondness for cufflinks and custom ties, noticed her. He adjusted his navy silk necktie and narrowed his eyes, exchanging a quick glance with one of his junior associates. Another window shopper, Sterling muttered under his breath, already annoyed. He hadn't met his sales quota in 2 weeks and couldn't afford to waste time on people who didn't fit the profile. A young salesman named Devin Riley, new but eager to do well, approached the woman politely. "Good morning, ma'am," he said warmly. "Is there something I can help you find?" Before she could respond, Sterling stepped in abruptly. "Ma'am," he said with a tight smile, "the service garage is located around the back of the building. We don't offer vehicle maintenance through the showroom." "I'm not here for service," she replied, calm but direct. "I'm interested in the Indigo coupe." Sterling's smile froze. "The Indigo?" he echoed. "That vehicle is a limited edition. Only 15 were made globally. It's not cheap." "I'm aware," she said. "I'd like to know more. May I see the interior?" Sterling glanced down at her shoes, the soles thinning, the laces frayed. "That particular car is only available for viewing by appointment. We reserve it for serious buyers," he said, his voice laced with condescension. Just then, a couple walked in wearing matching designer outfits, dripping in labels. Sterling turned on his heel and greeted them like royalty. "Mr. and Mrs. Delacroix," he beamed. "So glad to have you back." The woman watched as Sterling led the couple straight to the very car he claimed was appointment only. Devin, still nearby, offered her a small apologetic smile. "Ignore him," Devin whispered. "The Indigo has a hand-stitched leather interior, panoramic roof, custom engine tuning. Would you like to hear the specs?" She nodded gratefully, even as her eyes followed Sterling, who now held the door open for Mrs. Delacroix to climb inside the coupe. A pang of disappointment settled in her chest, not just for herself, but for how many others might have been dismissed like this. She walked back over to Sterling. "I'm still very interested in this vehicle," she said, clearly and respectfully. Sterling's smile fell. "I'm showing it to other clients now," he said coldly. "Perhaps come back another time. Or maybe our used lot down the street would be more aligned with your expectations." "I'm considering it as a gift for my younger sister," she explained, keeping her composure. Sterling pulled her aside. "Look, ma'am, we all dream," he said under his breath. "But this is a $250,000 car. These vehicles cost more than most people's houses. This isn't a place for dress rehearsals." She took a deep breath, her fists clenched at her side, but her voice was steady. "I'm ready to pay in cash." Sterling laughed, a loud, short, cruel burst of sound. "This isn't a yard sale, sweetheart." She stared at him, cheeks flushed, not from shame, but fury. "My money is just as good as anyone else's." Sterling leaned in close. "You're wasting my time. You want to come back? Fine. Make an appointment. Dress accordingly. Or don't come back at all." Before she could respond, a tall, gray-haired man in a tailored suit stepped out from the private office. His name was Charles Everton, the owner of the dealership. "Is everything all right here?" Charles asked. Sterling quickly jumped in. "Yes, just explaining our policies for viewing limited inventory." Charles nodded slowly. "Of course. Ma'am, we do have protocols for high-value vehicles. I'm sure you understand." "I understand perfectly," she said. "My name is Elise Monroe. I won't forget how I was treated today." With her head held high, she walked out the showroom door. Behind her, Sterling muttered, "Some people don't know their place." Elise stepped into the sunlight, pulled out her phone, and made a call. The next morning, Sterling strutted into the showroom, pleased with himself. He recounted the funny incident with Elise to his co-workers over their morning coffee. "The nerve, right?" he chuckled. "Thinking she was gonna buy the Indigo in sneakers and a $10 tee." At 10:17 a.m., the unmistakable purr of a handcrafted V12 engine broke the air. Heads turned. A car unlike any other pulled into the circular entrance. It was a custom Rolls-Royce Phantom, extended wheelbase, with a rare chameleon finish that shifted from indigo to amethyst in the sunlight. Its estimated value exceeded $1.2 million. A uniformed chauffeur stepped out and opened the rear door. Out came a man in a charcoal Brioni suit and Oxford shoes shined to perfection. His hair was peppered with silver, his presence undeniable. Sterling was first to approach. "Sir, welcome to Langston Prestige. I'm Sterling Langston, sales manager." The man extended his hand. "Julian Monroe." Sterling's heart skipped. That name. "I'm here to discuss the Indigo Coupe. My wife was here yesterday." Sterling froze. "Your wife?" "Yes. Elise Monroe. You advised her to visit the used lot." Sterling's color drained. "Mr. Monroe, there must have been a misunderstanding. I wasn't aware." Julian cut him off. "No misunderstanding. Just a very clear memory. She came to buy that car. You laughed in her face." At that moment, Charles Everton reappeared. "Mr. Monroe," he began, trying to salvage the situation. "Charles," Julian said, "my wife is co-founder of the Monroe Wellness Initiative. She's raised over $60 million for underfunded children's hospitals. She dresses simply because she believes in being accessible. She doesn't flaunt wealth because real wealth doesn't need to." Gasps rippled through the showroom. Devin stood frozen. Julian turned to him. "Young man, you treated my wife with respect yesterday." "Yes, sir." "Good. You'll be managing the purchase today." Sterling looked like he'd been punched. "Mr. Monroe, please." "You've made it clear who you think belongs here," Julian said. "But I'm not just buying one car. I came to replace our nonprofit's entire fleet, 7 vehicles. I was also going to choose this dealership for my personal collection updates. That's now under review." Charles stepped in quickly. "We're deeply sorry. Please, give us a chance to correct this." Julian thought for a moment. "You want to make it right? Fine. My wife is hosting a benefit gala for the Wellness Initiative next month." He turned to Sterling. "You'll be volunteering. Not as a guest. As staff. Loading chairs. Helping kids. And maybe learning something about humility. And your team," Julian continued to Charles, "might benefit from unconscious bias training. I'll send you a few contacts." With that, he looked at Devin. "Let's go handle the paperwork." As they walked toward the Indigo, Julian ran a hand along the hood. "She does have excellent taste, doesn't she?" Sterling stood silent, the weight of shame hanging on his shoulders like lead. 1 month later, the Monroe Initiative Gala took place at the historic Kensington Hall. Sterling was there, not in a suit, but in an event staff vest, helping children in wheelchairs find their assigned tables. Elise greeted him warmly. "How's the night treating you?" she asked. Sterling nodded. "It's been illuminating. Thomas over there," she said, pointing to a boy in a wheelchair, "says you're his favorite volunteer." Sterling chuckled. "He's teaching me how to shoot hoops. Said I have zero aim." Elise smiled. "He's honest." He turned serious. "I'm sorry, Mrs. Monroe. Truly. For everything." "You should be," she replied. "But what matters now is whether you change." Sterling looked across the room at Julian, now deep in conversation with a donor. "I already have." Later that evening, Julian approached Sterling. "I hear you've been doing good work." "Trying, sir." "Well," Julian said, "our corporate fleet still needs replacing. Devin said you've been mentoring him. I'd like you two to handle the order together." Sterling's breath caught. "Thank you, Mr. Monroe." As the gala wound down, Sterling helped Thomas back into his chair after a photo session. "You're not bad for a grown-up," Thomas grinned. Sterling smiled. "That might be the best compliment I've ever received." He meant it. Because sometimes, the most valuable cars don't sit behind glass. Sometimes, the most valuable lessons come not from wealth, but from how you treat someone when you think they have nothing to give you in return. And sometimes, redemption begins with sneakers, a white t-shirt, and a name you won't forget twice. The end.